Let's talk about the ideal attitude here for de-escalating conflict, because I think you've already hinted at it there, but sometimes we escalate it and we turn up the conflict by some of the things that we're trying to do to resolve it. So you gave, some examples of bad customer service, but I think about, having to be on hold and them repeatedly telling me every 30 seconds their call is important to me.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. And once maybe fine, but every 30 seconds for the next 20 minutes is not okay. That's creating more conflict. So by the time I get somebody on the phone, I'm already more heated than I was before. Are there any other common misconceptions or things that people do to try to maybe minimize the problem, and what they actually do is increase that conflict?
Absolutely. So what I've seen and I have heard is people will do really kind of placating and minimizing things. Don't worry about it. Just calm down. Or in the example of the innumerable customer service. And as a side note, have you ever noticed that you're on for a little while and they'll come back and say our call is important to you, but the longer that you've been on, I found that the more frequently they start repeating that message, and I'm like, I don't care. You're interrupting my listening to a podcast right now with this constant reminding of it.
Right.
And I think to your point in that example, it's kind of a depersonalization. It's like, what, it's PR is what that is. I think the things that, again, as a side note, what's more helpful is, kind of this is your estimated wait time. And it's that the people are dealing with complex issues or they're understaffed. And so pooping on somebody who is already doing hard work is not helpful. And if we come and so they're trying to kind of, thank you very much. And they have a script. I mean, so one thing, let's just recognize if there are parameters and scripts that people are compelled to do, let's just not get pissed at them that they're compelled to do it. However, if it's like, hey, just calm down, or, it is what it is, I can't really do anything about it. Let's not minimize their experience. Let's just kind of acknowledge and again, if it's a customer service line, I'm not sure if you're allowed to say, I'm really sorry for the wait time. We're understaffed or anything.
Yeah,
like
so let's
that.
maybe move away from that bad example, because we're not going to fix Fortune 500 companies' customer service. I don't even know if most of them don't even have 800 numbers anymore. But when we're in a sales conversation with a prospect, or we're working with a small business, I do think you've already mentioned two things: depersonalization, saying everybody has this, or the one I hate is this is our policy. And you're like, well, my policy is to not get taken advantage of. So we got a policy standoff here.
Yeah.
I'm right.
I agree. And to highlight
and
that
then
as a former
is the other one you mentioned too, that I wanted to highlight for everybody, is like saying, oh, no worries, we're going to get taken care of right away, or that's not a big deal. And trying to explain why it's not a big deal doesn't help your customer.
No. And what you're doing is you're highlighting the problem. And if you're saying it's not a big deal and you're like, well, it may not be a big deal from your end, because as a business owner, it's not your time, it's not your money, it's not your reputation. Especially for the small business owner, they are highly, highly involved, and they may be the face of the company, and they may be dealing with disgruntled customers and disgruntled employees. So along the lines of, if you can just say that a complaint is nothing more than a request in disguise. I think that that's really interesting, and that is how you can prepare for it. If there may be a complaint, but people don't know how to make direct and respectful requests of each other. So what they will do is they will complain, they will gripe, they will shame and blame. So I look at it like, I'm trying to get beyond that of, kind of what's the underlying issue here. And if in my head, I think, well, a complaint is nothing more than a request in disguise, and then it's like, okay, I need to listen for what the request is. And then I can repeat back, okay, what I'm understanding, this is your need. And this is kind of what your request is. Or another way that I frame that is, okay, let me understand it in the sales thing. Okay, this is your counter proposal, or this is your proposal. Because if it's a binary that is like, no, I can't do that, that's not the policy, then, salespeople know, let's kind of get underneath it and let's kind of find out, okay, well, what about that request or that proposal or that demand or that complaint? What need is that trying to serve? And your salespeople know that. You're looking for needs, you're looking for points of pain. But no, if you drive up points of pain, then you're getting them in that stress response, and then they're getting pissed, and then they're going for a binary answer. So in as much as, let me frame that in my head of any complaint or any blaming or shaming is nothing more than a request in disguise. And that request could be icky. It can be very, very assertive. It could even be going toward aggressive and maybe have an underlying threat in it. But okay, let me just take it as a request. Let me make sure that I understand your request and the secondary request and some of the challenges that you have. So you're not getting sucked into it. And the thing is,
Yeah.
it's so tempting to get sucked into it.